Look, most fitness advice out there is overwhelming, and it's usually written for people whose entire lives revolves around the gym. But I'm a full-time creative professional. Between the 9-to-5 grind, the commute, and my own projects, a 2-hour workout isn't just inconvenient, it's unrealistic. The problem is, most of us think we need a pro-level routine just to get fit, even with a busy life. And instead of progressing, we tend to burn out. So in this video, I'm stripping away the junk volume and breaking down how testing a minimalistic approach ended up giving me better results in half the time. Hi, my name is John, and I'm an illustrator and designer with way too many interests and a love for constant learning. On this channel, we test ideas. I approach self-development like a design problem, pulling from fitness, psychology, and creative practices to figure out how change actually happens. If you're a creative professional tired of the burnout cycle, you're in the right place. This channel is about building a capable body without sacrificing the work. And if you're a busy professional trying to balance health, fitness into your schedule, subscribe. This channel's for you. For years alongside building my creative career, I became deeply into fitness. I obsessed over it. I consumed everything I could find: training methods, diet strategies, old school fundamentals, and the latest research-backed protocols that promises maximum results. But eventually, the information became overwhelming and often contradictory, depending on who you listen to. And here's what kept happening. Every time I find something that worked and got good at it, the workouts started slowing down, getting longer and longer. I tried everything: calisthenics, free weights, machines, every training split and diet you can imagine. Eventually, I found a simpler approach that gave me more bang for my buck in half the time. But before we get into that, let me explain the real problem I kept running into with long workouts. 5 to 6 days a week, I'll rush to the gym before or after work, fight traffic, rush home to cook, just to squeeze in maybe 30 minutes of downtime before I pass out. I aimed for 8 to 9 hours of sleep, but most nights, I was lucky to get 6. Eventually, the brain fog kicked in. I'll stare at a project and feel my creative drive completely tank because I was constantly under recovery. I thought I was building a better body, but I was actually breaking it down, getting injured and slowly sabotaging my ability to do my own job. But with experience, I started realizing what really mattered. No matter what school of thought I came across in fitness and nutrition, it all seemed to boil down to two main things: training intensity and recovery. In simple terms, you have to train hard enough to give your body a reason to grow, and then recover well enough for it to actually adapt. Everything else is just implementation. When it came to most of the workout routines I was doing, a lot of them included a very high amount of volume, meaning a lot of sets and exercises in a single session. Now, high volume can work, but it also requires a high recovery capacity. As a natural lifter with a full-time job, I realized I wasn't recovering fast enough to sustain that much volume week after week. It took me a while to understand that as long as I focus on proper form, control reps, and pushing each set close to failure, where I maybe had 1 or 2 reps left in the tank, I didn't need as many sets to get an effective workout. Once the intensity was there, more sets weren't automatically better. But how do you keep improving if you're doing fewer sets? That's where progressive overload comes in. Progressive overload simply means gradually asking your muscles to do a little more over time, whether that's more weight, more reps, or better control. A simple method I like to use is called double progression. For example, let's say you're doing incline dumbbell curls with a rep range of 8 to 12 reps. You start with 20 pounds and can do 8 clean reps for 1 or 2 sets. The next session, you aim for 9 reps, then 10, then 11, until you can perform 12 control reps. Once you hit 12 reps with good form, you increase the weight, say 25 pounds, and repeat the process again. So instead of adding more exercises or more sets, I focus on making fewer sets more effective. So once I understood that intensity and recovery were the foundation, I rebuilt my training around movement patterns, not random exercises. Each week I made sure I covered a squat pattern, a hinge, a horizontal push and pull, a vertical push and pull, and just a small amount of direct arm and core work. Nothing fancy, just the fundamentals. Done hard, progressed consistently, and given enough time to recover. For example, one of my full body days might look something like this: a squat variation, a bench variation, a pull-up or row, a hinge movement, and maybe 1 or 2 isolation exercises at the end. That's it. Most sessions take me about 45 to 60 minutes. While pushing hard in a workout was important, I realized recovery mattered just as much. And once I reduced my overall volume, I noticed a big improvement in how I felt between sessions. But recovery isn't just about doing less, it's also about nutrition. For a long time, this was the area that confused me the most. But it became much simpler once I understood 2 things: calories and micronutrients. Calories are just units of energy. Your body needs energy to move, think, recover, and build muscle. If you consistently eat fewer calories than your body needs, you'll lose weight. If you're consistently eating slightly more, especially with enough protein, you give your body the resources it needs to build muscle. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals, things like iron, magnesium, and vitamin D. They don't provide energy directly, but they help your body function properly, recover efficiently, and perform at its best. So instead of chasing complicated diet plans, I focused on a few things: eating enough total calories to support my goal, getting enough protein, around 0.7 to 1 gram per body pound of body weight, eating mostly whole foods, staying hydrated, and prioritizing sleep whenever possible. Once I simplified both my training and my nutrition, everything became more sustainable. And that's when progress finally became consistent. Now that we've looked at both sides of the equation, the physical stimulus and the nervous system recovery, the design of this system actually makes sense. If you want the exact weekly workout I'm currently testing, both in a 3-day and 4-day version, plus exercise swaps, progression rules, and a baseline for nutrition, I put it all together in one framework you can download below in the description. It's completely free and it's designed to be a grounded starting point for your own experiments. Remember, you don't need volume, you need better structure. And if you're looking to building a capable body without sacrificing your work, subscribe. This channel is about testing ideas, refining systems, and building something sustainable. Until next time.